Good morning, Party Chat Sports. Welcome back to the channel. It's one of your hosts, Caleb Gill. Another NFL Sunday in the books, and you know what that means. It is now time for your Week 4 Monday Morning Drive. Let's start our drive by heading across the pond, actually. So the first game of your NFL Sunday yesterday was in Dublin. The luck of the Irish was definitely on the Steelers' side in this one. And it felt like for a moment the Vikings were getting some of that luck. But a few too many more Guinnesses were drank by the Steelers. It seems like 24-21 was the final there in Dublin. Steelers getting the win over the Vikings. And why I said it seemed like that luck was starting to go towards the Vikings side, they scored 15 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, and they had a chance at a game-winning drive late. Carson Wentz things, throws a pick, and that was it. That was pretty much it. Kenneth Gainwell had himself a hell of a game. The Vikings should be embarrassed by this alone. The fact that they let Kenneth Gainwell rush all over him. He had 19 carries, 99 yards. So he didn't break the 100-yard mark, but still, what's that? I mean, what's that? 5 yards a pop. I mean, if you're letting Kenneth Gainwell get 5 yards a carry, yikes. 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also added 6 catches for 35 yards. The Steelers looked more complimentary today. Rodgers had a couple good throws. That touchdown to DK Metcalf was quick. I mean, that was all DK. 80 yards, all DK. Rodgers is going to use his intelligence and his brain to win a lot of matchups, and the Steelers are 3-1 in part because of that. So you can't knock that. The Vikings do drop this one. We'll see what happens with Carson Wentz. And I don't remember what the timeline is on J.J. McCarthy, but I'm curious what he's learning from Carson Wentz is kind of my question. But Steelers get the 24-21 victory over the Vikings in Dublin. Let's head back across the pond. The Bills, a little scary there for a minute. All right, this shouldn't have been close. The Bills were 16.5-point favorites heading into this game, and it was a very sloppy game for the Bills for the first 3 quarters. There's no reason the Saints should have been in this one for as long as they were. And 31-19, that's still, it's a 2-score game. They gave the Bills, the Saints did, some fight. And really, at the end of the day, yeah, you're a bad team, so you do kind of like seeing this little feistiness. Kellen Moore, it's not bad for Kellen Moore if you're looking for positives, that his team was able to come out a little feisty and play competitive football with a Super Bowl contender. The Philly special interception there on the goal line, not great for the Saints, but Josh Allen, James Cook, it just ultimately proved to be too much. He had 3 total touchdowns, 1 of those on the ground, and then James Cook added 117 yards and touchdown on the ground. So Bills do escape with the victory, and 31-19 doesn't really say escape, but when you're going in as 16.5-point favorites, and if you were watching and paying attention to the game, it's like, ooh, because there was moments where it's like, are the Saints actually going to win this? I believe Dylan was a little scared because he took the Bills, I'm pretty sure, in a survivor pool this week. I think both him and Drew took the Bills in a survivor pool, so it was a little scary hours for them. Ultimately, Bills do get that win, though. Again, 31-19 in Buffalo. Texans, 26-0, shutting out the Titans. And really, what I say last week, I mentioned what the Colts said about the Titans, where the Colts, I don't remember who it was on the Colts, but they said the Titans looked like they didn't want to be there. They were just kind of limping and walking around. This week, the quote from this game that I'm going to take is from Cam Ward himself, where he said, and I quote, if we keeping it a buck, we ass. Ass you are, okay? Like, I'm not going to make an analogy. Probably wouldn't be child friendly, and we try to keep it clean around here. We fail at that pretty often, but we try. Yeah, this Titans team is terrible. Cam Ward needs some help. He has so much talent. You can see it. Like, if you get him a top 15 head coach or play caller, if you get him a weapon or two, the Titans with Cam Ward can be a damn good team. And they could be very competitive there in a pretty weak AFC South. I say that knowing that the Colts were 3-0 heading into this week. The Jaguars showed life. They just lost to the Texans. But, like, this is a winnable division for any of those four teams, it feels like. And yet, the Titans are just kind of... You look at the Saints this week, they showed a pulse against the Bills. A Super Bowl contender, okay? The Saints, as bad as they are, it seems like they're feisty. They're showing some life. They're just bad. The Titans, they're bad, and they're also not showing life. So that's on coaching. I don't think Brian Callahan has many days left as the Titans head coach. They switched up offensive play callers this week, and yet you couldn't muster a single point. Nothing. So the Texans get their first win of the season. Their offensive line still looked awful. I mean, that was, for anybody that hasn't seen it, go to Twitter, look up fastest sack, okay? And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The center completely moves out of the way, and the nose guard just, it's like, and before that like the second that ball hits CJ Stroud's hands from the center, he's sacked. And we've been harping on this for a while. Texans don't have an offensive line, and yet it continues to show. So I really don't know what to take away from CJ Stroud and the Texans team. What I can take away is their offensive line looks awful, and that Titans team in general looks awful. And again, to quote Cam Ward, to keep it a buck, we ass. Speaking of ass, the Browns went to Detroit and lost 34-10. And that first drive, like, it seemed like it could have been a somewhat competitive game. You know, I expected more from the Browns defense, and the Lions offense didn't even really look that great. They struggled, and yet 34 points were still scored. Khalif Raymond did have a big punt return for a touchdown, which sparked a lot of things for that Lions offense and just the Lions in general. But they scored, 20 points in the second quarter? Or no, they scored 20 unanswered points in the first half. So the Browns get the ball first. They march down, or they don't march down the field immediately. The Browns score first in the first quarter. Then the Lions answer, and from there, it was all Lions. Jared Goff hit Amon-Ra St. Brown for 2 touchdowns. The one thing that I thought was interesting, every time they showed the Lions on red zone, it was like, hey, look, he's throwing it to Jameson Williams, and look, an interception or some sort of mistake. Like, it seemed like every time Goff was thrown to JMO or in his direction, something bad happened. Just thought that was something to note. But overall, that Lions offense looked lackluster, and yet still beat the Browns by 24 points. Joe Flacco had 2 interceptions. Dylan Gabriel made another appearance. How much longer is Joe Flacco going to be the starter? Like, we're getting into October, and it doesn't look like Joe Flacco is going to help you win games. Yes, you did win a game, but you didn't win because of Joe Flacco against the Packers. You didn't. It's more or less you won in spite. I think we are very close. Honestly, what's going to happen first? Dylan Gabriel's named the starter, or Brian Callahan is fired as a head coach of the Tennessee Titans? That's the line I kind of want to bet on. Let me know in the comments, actually, what you think is going to happen first. Callahan fired or Dylan Gabriel starts. Because I feel like we're very close to both of those things. I just don't know what's going to happen first. And honestly, who knows? By the time this drops and you're listening to it on your way into work tomorrow, it could, one of those two, if not both of those, could already have happened. Who knows? But yeah, Lions win this one 34-10 in Detroit. Falcons, 34-27 victory over the Commanders. And this Falcons offense really took life. Like they shined. And it was their first-round draft picks. You know, all these first-round draft picks that they've been stacking up. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan, and then Michael Penix. All these first-round offensive pieces all meshed and had a really good performance today. All of them. Bijan had a career high in total yards with 101 total yards, both receiving and rushing. Drake London had 8 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown, his best game of the season. Kyle Pitts, 5 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Michael Penix bounced back from a bad game last week with 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So, really good day for the Falcons offense. And maybe it's Zach Robinson is trying to... I saw rumors that offense coordinator for the Falcons, like he could be in the running for the Oklahoma State head coach job. So maybe he's just trying to like spark interest and be like, hey, maybe I do want to be a head coach. Maybe it's not college, but I want to spark interest league-wide. I just kind of found it interesting that this performance comes after I read that report. How accurate that is, I have no idea, but to me, interesting nonetheless. Mariota looked okay in this one. Like a backup. Like 16 for 27, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, interceptions. There was no Terry McLaurin. Debo did have a big touchdown in this game. But my biggest takeaway, the Falcons only won by a touchdown, but they put up 34 points and a big day from their first round draft picks. So, really good for the Falcons there. Let's just see if that continues to be the case. If they can use this game as momentum moving forward, because the Bucs are not immortal. So the Falcons might have a chance later on the season if they are able to keep this offensive firepower going to catch the Bucs, a Buccaneers team who lost their first game of the season to the Eagles. 31-25 in Tampa Bay, the Eagles won, and the Eagles got out quick. Like, it looked like the makings of a blowout. The Buccaneers offense going to get rolling. The Eagles offense marched down the field. It was like 14-3, like that. Going into halftime is 24-6. Jalen Hurts was 15 for 16, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, this Eagles offense looked so good in that first half. Got to give credit to the Bucs, so they did start coming back. Jalen Hurts was 0 for 8 passing in that second half. It's like he didn't want to win. Like, they got up enough. Kind of like how the Eagles have won some of these games where, like that Rams game, they trailed and then they were able to come back. They almost let the Buccaneers come back. Another big special teams play for the Eagles as well on a blocked punt, which was huge. I believe that was the first quarter. Baker was unable to get the game-winning drive. Something that Baker's been able to do these last couple games for weeks has been getting that game-winning drive. Unable to do that this week. And I do want to shout out Quinyon Mitchell, who had a really good game. He was guarding Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, and yes, Emeka Egbuka did have a really good day. Another good day for the rookie. He's up to 4 receiving touchdowns on the year. He had a 70... I don't remember if his was a 77 or 72-yard touchdown, because the Buccaneers had 2. One was to Bucky Irving, and then Emeka had the other. But that was not when Quinyon Mitchell was covering. Those that found themselves on Quinyon Mbappe today got locked up. 9 targets, 2 catches allowed, 6 total yards allowed. So 2 catches, 6 yards, and 5 pass Ravens. It's a really good day for the guy at Toledo. Did like seeing that Cooper DeJean had himself a good day as well, for the most part. But I did want to shout out Quinyon Mitchell. I also just like saying that. It's when you have a really cool nickname, like everybody. So like Revis Island. That's sick. And then other people start taking it. It's like Ramsey Island. No. There's only one island. Maybe there's only one bay now. We'll see. But again, really good day for Quinyon Mitchell. The Buccaneers unable to make that comeback and finish this one off, and the Eagles remain undefeated. The reigning Super Bowl champs. First place in the NFC at the quarter point of the season. Patriots-Panthers. We don't really need to discuss this one. Patriots 42-14. The Panthers look awful. Bryce Young will not be a starting quarterback in 2026. I'm making that prediction right now. He does not look like he does not look like a good quarterback. If he's not playing the Falcons, he is not an NFL quarterback. There's really, what is there to say? Who can defend Bryce Young at this point? Marcus Jones did have a punt return for a touchdown that sparked the Patriots offense. It was 7-6 after the first quarter. Punt return for a touchdown sparks everything. And the Patriots go on. They score 21 points in the second quarter, and that was essentially the difference. Drake May finishes 14 for 17 with 203 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 101 yards for him. Patriots win 42-14 against the terrible Carolina Panthers. The New York Giants made a change at quarterback this week, and it might have saved Brian Daboll his job, at least for a little bit longer, because they were able to get a win 21-18 against the previously undefeated LA Chargers. Yeah. 21-18 for the Giants. And I thought Jackson Dart, he looked fine. He looked like a rookie. It wasn't, he didn't go off on the stat sheet. It's not eye-popping on the stat sheet, but he was able to move around the pocket. 13 for 20, 111 yards, and 1 touchdown passing. What was really impressive to me was, again, that moving around the pocket, and also what he was able to do on the ground. 10 rushes, 54 yards, and a touchdown. I thought he looked fine in his debut. But Giants did win, but at what cost, man? That MetLife turf. 2 souls were taken today by that MetLife turf. Joe Walt and Malik Neighbors. Why can't we just rip it up and put grass down? Why? How many more injuries needs to happen before we're finally you know what, maybe this turf's a problem? And I know they've already changed it. They changed it 2-3 years ago. They've already changed the turf, and yet it's worse. Put grass down. If you're going to do it for soccer, why can't you do it for the reason you built the stadium in the first place? Justin Herbert had 2 interceptions. Not the greatest day for him. Quentin Johnston continues to impress. 8 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown. Marion Hampton, he looked really good, I thought. He carried the ball 12 times, 128 yards on the ground. He added 5 catches and 37 yards. The rookie looked good, especially, they need him more so now than they did a couple weeks ago because they don't have Najee. Ultimately, the Chargers something just wasn't right today. And that's going to happen. It's the NFL. These are all guys competing. These are the top 1% of players of this sport. Okay? There's going to be weeks where a bad team wins and a good team loses. There's going to be weeks where a good team, or a team that we think is good, is also going to get like the Ravens. 37-20 loss for the Ravens. They went into Arrowhead, and the Chiefs looked like who we thought they were, or what you expect from the Chiefs. Like when you hear the Chiefs, you hear Patrick Mahomes, you just kind of assume offense, and they looked like that today for the first time all season. Like this looked like a Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid offense. The Ravens, on the other hand, I don't know what they're doing with Derrick Henry. It's like they're scared to give him the ball because like they'd be on 3rd or 4th and 1, and they wouldn't give him the rock. Don't get that. Lamar got hurt. There was a laundry list of players actually for the Ravens that got hurt today. Lamar, Ronnie Stanley, Raquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, they all got hurt today. But like, I don't know what to make of the Ravens right now. They look fraudulent, and I mean, both these two teams are expected to be Super Bowl contenders with the Bills. Only one of them looked legit. And you expected this to be a good game. But I don't know. Ravens now 1-3. It's not great. Not great. Chiefs get the one in Arrowhead 37-20. Jaguars hold off the 49ers 26-21. The Jaguars defense has looked really good this season. They were talking on the broadcast. They've had 3 forced turnovers in every game this year. At least 3 forced turnovers in every game this year. That's a huge testament to the Jaguars defense, who put Brock Purdy and the 49ers offense, like, they were kind of, like, frantic. The offense looked mediocre. Like, they had their moments, and then there was moments where Brock Purdy didn't look that good. Like, the offense as a whole for the 49ers looked very hit or miss. And I got to give a lot of credit to the Jaguars defense for putting them in that spot. Because Devin Lloyd, what did he have? He had a big day. The Jaguars defense as a whole, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles recovered, and 17 points in the second quarter that the Jaguars scored proved to be big as a 126-21. 49ers were unable to get the game-winning drive. They were unable to stop the Jaguars late, and that's how the 49ers got their first loss, ultimately. The Jaguars' defense was just too good today, and the Jaguars' offense was able to take advantage enough. Kind of sums that one up. Rams, Colts, 27-20 win for the L.A. Rams. Yeah, Colts, Daniel Jones kind of looked like who we thought he was at times. He had 2 interceptions, including one late that sealed the win for the Rams in the final 2 minutes. I believe it was final 2 minutes. So that sealed their first loss. And Donnie Mitchell, he did have 96 yards, but he was on... There was 2 touchdowns taken away from the Colts today because of an Adonai Mitchell mistake. Him dropping the ball before crossing the plane. You know, he had it looked like one of the best receiving touchdowns of the year. And yet he drops it. It went from, I saw a tweet. This is the fastest you can go from a Sports Center top 10 play to a Sports Center not top 10. Like, drop the ball before crossing the plane. Colts don't get that touchdown. And then there was a Jonathan Taylor touchdown late that would have tied the game, but he was holding. So 2 big mistakes from Adonai Mitchell cost the Colts in this one, along with 2 interceptions, and the game sealer from Daniel Jones. Puka Nacua also, holy Toledo, 13 catches, 170 yards, and a touchdown for Puka. Dude just went off. Went berserk. 375 yards total for Matthew Stafford. Offense looked good. And the Rams offense looked like what I expected them to. You know, I'd like to see a little bit more Devontae Adams, but when Puka Nacua, how can you not give it to Puka at this point? 13 catches, 170 yards. That's freaking-tastic. Let's see. You're averaging 13 yards a catch? Did I do that math right? Yeah, 13 yards a catch. We take that. Rams 27-20. Colts with their first loss of the year. And then the last game for your Monday morning drive, Bears, Raiders. Bears get the touchdown late. Raiders unable. They get in field goal range. 24-20, 25-24. Raiders just need a field goal. Daniel Carlson lines up. He's getting ready to kick. It's off his foot, and it gets blocked. All the special teams these last couple weeks, man, block field goals, block punts. I love it. Punt returns for touchdowns. I love all these special teams plays. And the Bears had a big one to seal the win for them. The score should not have been a 1-point game for the Bears. Geno had 3 interceptions. He was really trying to give the game to the Bears. But Caleb Williams, the Bears offense just looked meh. Ultimately, they did enough on that final drive to get the win. Max Crosby was essentially terrorizing the Bears and Caleb Williams. He ends with an interception and a forced fumble, but man, he was all in Caleb Williams' face. And I know Caleb Williams probably never mind. I'm about to get canceled for what I'm about to say. Anyways, Ashton Jeanty, welcome to the NFL, man. I wrote this down before seeing his final stat line. So let's pull up his final stat line real quick. Ashton Jeanty, 21 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown on the ground, plus 2 catches, 17 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. For the first round pick out of Boise State, the snubbed Heisman Trophy candidate, who should have won the trophy. Welcome to the NFL, Ashton Jeanty. Unfortunately for you, it doesn't result in a win as the Bears get the 25-24 victory in Las Vegas. All right, quick rundown, quick recap of your scores from this edition of the Monday Morning Drive. Steelers 24-21 win over the Vikings in Dublin. 31-19 win for the Bills over the Saints. Texans win 26-0 against the Titans, shutting out their divisional opponent. Lions 34-10 win over the Cleveland Browns. Falcons 34-27 over the Commanders. Eagles hold off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa 31-25. Patriots blow out the Panthers 42-13. Giants get their first win, and Jackson Dart gets his first win, handing the Chargers their first loss 21-18. The Chiefs 37, Ravens 20. Jaguars hand the 49ers their first loss 26-21. The Rams hand the Colts their first loss 27-20. And then the Bears win 25-24. Thanks everybody for watching, listening. We'll be back this week. I do apologize. I do want to apologize real quick for not being able to get a parlay of the week up. There was just a lot going on. There was weddings and whatnot because, gotta love people who schedule weddings in the fall. Not able to get that up last week. Hopefully we're able to get that up this week as we head into week 5. We will have a week 5 preview up though at probably Wednesday. So be sure to stay tuned to the feed for that. Thanks everybody that continues to follow, continues to like, subscribe. Tell anyone that you know that loves sports as much as we do to subscribe. We are anywhere and everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Again, anywhere and everywhere. All Party Chat Sports. So until next time, we'll be back with your Week 5 recap later this week. But until then, peace.